Welcome to the video. Today we're talking about the King Ranch, and specifically its infotainment, including sync, and why sync kind of stinks. We have a few things to go over. 2 things I love about the infotainment, but 5 things I hate and hope that can be changed in the future. Let's start with the 2 good things. Alright, let's start with my number 1 favorite thing about the infotainment. The B&O sound system. So 2 of these in each door card up front, 2 here and over there, 1 there, 2 in the back, 2 doors, bam bam, and finally 1 in the subwoofer. Apologies for the mess, just came home from the trip. The sound system does pretty well, even though it's just a regular B&O. There are 2 stages. There are 3 total sound systems. Base sound system, this B&O system, and then the Unleashed system with like twice as many speakers as this one and twice as much bass. But even with just a small sub and these door cards, it still does pretty well bass wise. You can definitely hear the sub behind the seats in here, and the door cards do pretty well. Run circles around Rivians, just saying. But yeah, so that's a huge plus about the infotainment for the Lightning. Another thing I love, just how many features they have baked in the apps here. For example, Pro Power on board. You could do it. There we go. Pro Power on board. Right now it's powering the Starlink right now, and it's doing pretty well. I always love this app. I'll open almost every time I get in the car to turn on the Starlink or power some other stuff. For those who've watched my last video, or one of my last videos, I powered my whole camper for 5 days using this. It works pretty awesome. In addition to that, you have Zone Lighting, one of my other favorite apps here. Zone Lighting's great. It has a 360-degree, basically, lighting system utilizing headlights, reverse lights, and lights on the mirrors. You can turn all of them on. You have lights everywhere. Hard to see right now because it's daytime still. There's a big light in the sky. But at nighttime, it comes in clutch. And then as a little bonus, you have this little guy. Let's see, there we go, parking lot. This is a fun one. It's like one of those old Unblock Me games, but instead of using Ford vehicles, you have to get your car, move them like a puzzle, get your car out and through the end of the parking lot right there. So, little fun little game to pass time with. I love this game. So, with that out of the way, it's time to start with the bad, the ugly, what we don't like about sync. And as you saw earlier when I was trying to open Pro Power, it's slow. That's number 1. It is slow. It's super slow. Everything is so slow. Look at that. It takes forever. Super duper slow. Everything. Want to go to a different app? Okay, hit the app thing, give it a second. There you go. You want to go to navigation. And sit and think for a bit. There it goes. This row down here is also very laggy. Look at that. There you go. And the funny thing is, this is faster than normal. It's usually even slower. One of the other things that really grinds my gears from the slowness, which also kind of transitions to my next point, AC. So the AC controller is kind of a hybrid controller, some touch, some physical. And to activate it, you have to touch this right here, and then it comes up. Now, if you just turn the car, and if you're in Florida like I am, your car will be about 150 degrees inside, and so you hop in, you want to get the AC going stat. Problem is you have to tap this 2 or maybe 3 times before the car actually realizes you're tapping it. Then you have to tap and either keep tapping to increase, or you have to tap and turn the knob up or down for temperature as well. And it turned on my seat heater even though I didn't touch it. No, there we go. It's a neat idea, but in practice it makes things a bit harder. Before I got my truck, Actually, while I was dealing with the process of buying the truck, they gave me a gas XLT, and it had just a regular screen there and just regular buttons, and it was easy, and that's what I prefer here. Now, there are trims that has a regular screen. The Pro, XLT, and the new STX have the regular screen. Flash, Lariat, and Platinum have this guy. And although it looks cooler for some people, I prefer the smaller screen with buttons because it's a faster infotainment system, and also has buttons that I can use muscle memory for, so while I'm driving and paying attention to the road, I don't have to look over here all the time. That's distracting. So that's kind of a 2-in-1 right there. Next, let's talk about the GPS voice. The GPS voice is very, very annoying. So let's go from here to I don't know, my local Chevy dealer. We're gonna go to AutoNation Chevy because I like Chevy. Chevrolet. There we go, AutoNation Chevy. I love that dealership. All right, so we're gonna go.
Obey traffic laws. Be alert and use voice commands while driving.
That's annoying. And it even has like, it also does that like even unprompted. So I'll not be using this at all. In fact, I'll be using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. And all of a sudden it'll give me like a prompt, even though I went to the menu and turned those prompts off. It still talks. It also has trouble pronouncing words too. It's really annoying. It sounds just like the voice in early Teslas, which I also disliked a lot. So yeah, GPS voice, yeah. All right, so that's 3. Number 4. I think, in my opinion, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I do use as my daily driver all the time. Is my cable to plug in. I use Android Auto all the time. And I would plug it in, but the phone that I'm filming with is what I normally use. So it does great, but my problem is if you're going to have Android Auto and CarPlay, usually you'll spend less time actually ironing out the issues and fixing the inconveniences of your default built-in infotainment. And that seems like what happened here. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are great, and even they lag sometimes due to the processing on here. The phone's not lagging at all. But whenever I'm not using any of those apps, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And by that I mean like I can't, if I need to go somewhere, I have to sit and wait for this, I have to sit and wait for that. Whereas I can just ask my smart assistant on my phone, navigate me to work, and it'll do it. Over here, it's gonna take forever, it has a weird voice, all these different things. Not to mention other niche issues with sync that I wouldn't necessarily interact with if I were using CarPlay, but also some that I would have to use even if I'm using CarPlay. For example, Pro Power. You can't use Pro Power in CarPlay, but because we're focused on CarPlay and Auto, they're not really doing much to make it better. And so I'd love to see Ford make their infotainment better. The driver display is pretty great. I don't really have any complaints here, but the center display, specifically for the center screen here, I'd love to see better performance, especially for the vertical one. The horizontal ones, the default ones, which are only the only option on the gas ones, they're great. Ford is working on a new driver experience, thank goodness, and I cannot wait for that to come out. And last but not least, the switches on here. So if I go here, go to vehicle, every time I get in the car, so my Starlink stays running, I would go and turn off the vehicle power down timer. You can turn that off by default. You can have it be off by default by using force scan, but I put it back to not by default for the video. So it can be on or off. It defaults to on, so you turn off every time you get in the vehicle, and it will, like, there you go. Whenever you use Pro Power, it'll turn off automatically. Problem is, half the time, or almost 70% of the time, Sync won't realize that it's supposed to do it. So this will come up, vehicle timer is turned off, the vehicle runs supply of power outlets until Pro Power service reached. You also get the same thing if you turn on Pro Power. So if this is on, and Pro Power is turned on. We'll turn it off for a second so that we can test this, which will shut off my Starlink very briefly. So now Pro Power is off. If I turn Pro Power on, we'll get a little pop-up at the top. Eventually, Sync is supposed to do it, but as you can tell, Sync forgot again. And now, my power off timer is still on. Well, it's supposed to be turned off every time you use Pro Power. So stuff like that, I wish there's something inefficient about development here, where features like that aren't catching up, or they're not realizing the other end isn't working yet. So that's something I really wish they'd work on. Thankfully though, even with all those issues, the hardware of the vehicle, the actual important parts, the motor, the wheels, the suspension, the cabin, the features, they make up for it. I do hope Sync gets better because it needs to, or I hope we get this new driver experience on our existing cars sooner than later, because it really does bring down the overall experience of the vehicle significantly. So let me know what you guys think. If you have any other things you like or dislike about this. I also plan to compare Sync to Rivian's infotainment, so stay tuned for that one in the future. And y'all hopefully will see me on the next video. Have a good one.